with the WWE Performance Center stalker trying to get booked for another promotion, and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for May 16. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at WrestlingHubOfficial, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. As Monday Night Raw is set to come back to Norfolk Virginia tonight, it seems the show is the first in a long time to be a sellout, as Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer wrote. Tonight's Raw in Norfolk is legitimately sold out. Not sold out with no upper deck tickets being sold, etc. With the stage, a pro wrestling sellout would be a little over 7,000 at the Scope Arena, and they were this morning past 7,200. NBC confirmed that for this fall, the third season of Young Rock will be airing at 8:30 p.m. Eastern till 9, as WWE Smackdown runs from 8 to 10. As this series has been a hit with wrestling fans, it remains to be seen how this affects the viewership of Smackdown. Speaking of The Rock, his cousin and WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi recently spoke to Bally Sports about the possibility of Johnson running for president of the United States. Well, The Rock was younger and we weren't really around each other that much, you know? I'm from the West Coast. He was out there on the East Coast. We all knew him and his father, and they flew all over the place, but when we finally did get together, it was all good. A young kid from Allentown, Pennsylvania, going to high school. He was always in the gym. I for sure thought that he was going to play NFL football, you know? Like, really be that because he was jacked up. If you see some of the documentaries, you know, that's real. At 13 years old, he was a grown adult size. He was a beast. But you know, with everything, God has a plan for everybody. And I'm so grateful to be able to see what Dwayne has done with his life, you know? He came into the family business and went out there and opened the doors in Hollywood, not only for himself, but opened the door for a lot of the wrestlers in our industry to be able to adapt and go into Hollywood. And that too, they can do just by seeing what Dwayne did. You get a wrestler coming from our industry into Hollywood and pretty much took over the whole Hollywood. I mean, that's that work ethic as a professional wrestler. We know nothing but the grind hard. We figure things out and we see things coming from a mile away. When you're on TV shooting things live, there is no pre-tape. You just give me your pointers and we put it in our own words and we make it happen. And by the time you see The Rock in Hollywood, we all knew unless something happened to him, that dude is going to take over Hollywood. Years later, there it is. I'm voting for him. I don't know about being the vice president. I'll be voting for him though, because I'm not the political cat. I'm just the cat who supports the people. While Jeff Hardy wanted to use his Willow character to face off against The Fiend in WWE, he now has the opportunity to bring back the mask in AEW. When asked about this on the company's Unrestricted podcast, he said yes, of course. There is a chance Willow could appear in AEW, but not with House of Black. He is inside of Jeff, and that's it. When he comes out to play, he comes out, and it's going to be exciting. With WWE and AEW making presentations to advertisers at the upcoming network upfront meetings, it was said on Wrestling Observer Radio that both companies are touting their brand as a sport for higher rates. Yet WWE is trying to position itself as sports in order to garner higher ad rates, which is funny but smart at the same time, because they spent so many years trying to tell everyone they weren't sport, but now it's a lot more convenient to say that they are, so they are. They're pushing it like the one thing about our sport is that we have the game that goes back and forth until the final seconds, because we can script it. That's what they say. AEW, I think Warner Media is trying to put it in the sports category as well for the very same reason, which is also beneficial as far as the selling of ad rates, and just the overall positioning of the thing, because Warner Media is trying to go heavily into sports right now. It's certainly good, yeah. The new people in charge are just getting their feet wet. There's not going to be any decisions made. The reality is for this year, obviously they're going to be on, so you're going to push them hard at the upfronts. Next year is the year that you're really going to see what's up when the people in charge are in charge and have made their decisions on what they're going to do with programming and everything like that. It would also be noted that with the time of the meeting for AEW, they might not be able to send top talent. The whole thing with the upfronts, at first AEW was going to be pushed really hard. Then changes were made and they weren't, which wasn't a good sign. And then it changed again, and they are, which is a good sign. The upfronts, I think, are Wednesday, so it's tough. WWE is going to be sending its top talent, but AEW is taping a show on Wednesday. It's going to be very difficult to send a lot of its top talent. They probably could send some people. It's one of the shows that they're listing as key shows, so it's being positioned very strongly right now. With MJF hinting at leaving AEW when his contract expires in 2024 and potentially signing with WWE, Will Washington of Fightful reported that many in the locker room of AEW are not on MJF's side when it comes to these contract negotiations. I asked multiple people around in AEW, and I did get one person who gave me a quote they said I am free to use. So basically, there's not a whole lot of people on MJF's side of this I am gathering. The one thing I heard from somebody that said, look, his deal is his deal. Changing the terms of an existing deal while in the middle of it would set a horrible precedent, and if he wants new money, then sign a new deal. The idea I gave, what they're saying here is, yeah, MJF is in the middle of his deal, can simply say, I'm actually worth this now. Granted, I think he is, but they're like, what would stop anybody else from wanting to change the terms of their deal in the middle of it and not sign a new deal? And also, the source said Tony would be a fool to give him any more money without the guarantee of more years. Of course, if Tony gives up something on this new deal, then he has to get something, and so yeah, you sign a new deal. He's got to tack on a few more years to make it happen. It sounds like he still wants his free agency in 2024. After being arrested in June for trespassing on WWE property multiple times, Armando Alejandro Montalvo recently made the journey to Kissimmee, Florida, where Impact Wrestling was holding its Citrus Brawl TV tapings. In a stream uploaded to Facebook, he makes his way into the arena, attempting to be booked for a match that night. Following his announcement in December that he was cancer-free, WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the inaugural winner of the Royal Rumble match, took to Facebook to reveal he has been diagnosed with cancer once more, as he is set to go through 8 weeks of radiation treatment.
Hi folks, I hope you enjoyed the pictures and videos of our travels. We've been having a great time, but reality is here, and I'm afraid I have some bad news. It seems like my cancer treatment is not over, even after the removal of my prostate last October. Tomorrow, I'm having my second hormone shot, and Tuesday, I'm being set up for radiation treatment, which will be 8 weeks, 5 days a week. But the doctors are very optimistic that they caught it early, but still, it's a very terrifying time for me and my family. But the doctors also said to go ahead and live life, which we're going to do. So I'm afraid I'm going to make most shows, but some shows I'm going to have to postpone or cancel. And I'm sorry about that, but that's the way it's got to be. And I'm going to be posting this whole ordeal as I go through it. So tomorrow on my way to the doctor, I get the hormone shots. I'm going to be posting that. After the shots, I'll be posting that. Throughout the whole experience, I'll be posting it. Hopefully, it will help someone out there, because I know a lot of men, a lot of families are going to go through this. And I know it's going to help me. You folks have helped me through an awful lot over the years, many times before. And sharing this with you is going to help me get through this. So thank you. And please don't feel sorry for me. Be thankful that they caught it early. And thoughts and prayers are more than welcome. And remember, I'll get through this. Thanks very much, folks.
With With reports of the Nature Boy making a return to in-ring action, Ric Flair told ESPN that he has intentions to get between the ropes for a swan song bout. As he said, "I'm going to walk that aisle one last time to prove once and for all that to be the man, you've got to beat the man." Flair would also take to Twitter writing, "The rumors are true. I'm going to walk that aisle, style and profile, one last time." July 31st, Nashville, Tennessee, Jim Crockett Promotions. "I will prove once again that to be the man, you've got to beat the man. Now we go to school." While it was reported that a fourth member was set to join Edge's Judgment Day faction, it seems that star has been released from the company, with Ringside News writing, "We were told that Edge had pitched Harland as the fourth member. It was being pushed through until Harland was released. Harland's firing really came out of left field." Speaking of Forbes, AEW president Tony Khan took a shot at WWE, calling out the company for constantly changing scripts right before airing. "I did lean more on people around me. I would try to trust my instincts, but it's hard when you don't have as much experience. I do take a lot of pride in the booking. I work with a lot of really smart people. What I think I do a good job of is being organized, dealing with a lot of different people and going through ideas. I have a lot of great creative minds that are in the company that I have a full-time access to, like Chris Jericho, Christian Cage, Jon Moxley has great ideas. Now CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole have come in with great ideas. We have a lot of awesome things happening right now, and I'm proud of that, and I try to keep it all organized and balanced. I found that it's helped me a lot writing the shows myself. I don't understand the idea of having a lot of different people write the show, and then a person would go in the day of and rip it to pieces and try to come up with new ideas. To be honest, when I hear about somebody going in and they have a TV show on Monday and they rip up, my first thought is, what were you doing all weekend? I work my ass off on the weekends. I have to come in with a plan for Wednesday and Friday night. I want to make sure Dynamite and Rampage is great. I don't do everything myself, but I do make the final decision on everything. I put the format together. I put an outline on what the show is going to be for Dynamite and Rampage and write it by hand. I don't understand why you're going to come in and rip up a show that you should have a pretty good idea of what it is, and you should have approved it where Monday you know what we're doing. Things change on the day of a show. Not that I ever change my mind on the day of. I do, but not where I change everything. I might change one or two things, around on instinct or being something happened. But for the most part, I like to have a good idea of what's going to be on the show next week and the week after. I really believe that the fans like that we try our best not to insult their intelligence. And I do try to make the shows compelling and logical. That's one of the challenges, because a lot of times people come to you with ideas, and it's hard because everyone has their own approaches and philosophies, but there is a tone of the show. I really just want people to go out and make points and keep the stories going, but I'm not so autocratic that I want to control every word somebody says on television, and that's also why some of our interviews, storytelling, and promos are really strong. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.